B1 brothers and sisters, welcome to Blacklogic. And today we'll be talking about basically how America has been giving away billions of dollars of our tax dollars to other countries, to other organizations. And this is the reason why we have this massive amount of debt, 33 trillion and climbing. And at some point, even Rome fell when we think about a large empire such as ours that we have risen to the top over centuries of free labor from foundational Black Americans. Now, I know a lot of you're probably wondering where your hard-earned tax dollars go. But we ought to understand that the United States is a large contributor, if not the largest contributor, of global aid. A significant portion of the U.S. tax dollars goes towards international humanitarian assistance, and around 40% critical programs in health, education, and emergency response. Countries like Afghanistan, Kenya, Ethiopia aid to combat disease outbreaks, improve healthcare infrastructure, and provide education support. So all the billions of dollars trillions of dollars that we're in debt, we're going to find out here today that billions of these dollars are coming from personal income tax, excise tax, business tax, you name, but it's all coming from the American people, either by personal, by your small business, or even a lot of the large businesses in some regards, because we understand how they use tax harvesting shelters in order not to pay taxes. But some people may argue that the U.S. tax dollars play an essential role in supporting peacekeeping efforts and providing humanitarian service. Because here's the thing, a lot of people say, well, the reason why we give billions of dollars to this country is because they're one of our allies and they help us to defend against foreign enemies, our enemies who may be bordering their country or something like that. Okay, I can understand the strategic hold in, paying a couple of $1 million every year. That way we can have access to that country's borders. I mean, it's still a hard pill to swallow, but I understand national defense. I do. I understand national defense. So I get that. And some people argue that it focuses on promoting sustainable development around the world. I don't care about sustainable development. Then some people, well, if we don't have sustainable development around the world, then the U.S. economy falls. Okay, I can understand that as well. But they have all sorts of infrastructure projects in the sub-Saharan Africa. And I'm like, well, who are they paying this money to? Because the Chinese is over there and basically have a lot of those African countries in economic slavery. In economic slavery, they do these blood loans, which they know that the country can never pay it back because essentially a lot of people from Africa will say that a lot of their leaders and their politicians are corrupt. And I would tell them all politicians are corrupt. But the difference between politicians in America and the difference between politicians in Central America, in South America, and in Africa is that you have foundational Black Americans, you have U.S. citizens who are on guard about these things and will report these things to the people, and they never want a citizen revolution. That's something they don't want. Because the powerful can't be powerful and the rich can't be rich. They don't want that sort of revolution. Family, they do not want that revolution because the hierarchy of class will come tumbling down. That's why. That's why they would never want that. They will never want those things to occur, family. But I'll leave you guys with this before we get into it. Ask yourself this question throughout the whole broadcast. What would America be like if foundational Black Americans received their cash payment reparations and all the other extensions of reparations that we are owed? Just continue to ask yourself that question. And then gather in the information of all the research I've done for you guys here today of the billions and trillions of dollars that go outside this country each and every day. Like always, family, before we get started here, I want to give one of our living legends his flowers. Moses West. I know you guys are familiar with Moses West, right? Because he's a gentleman who invented this, I think they call it the AWG. I think it's called the AWG. I forgot the exact name, but it's the apparatus, it's the machine that captures moistures in the air and then, gathers it up and make it, in potable water to drink. So he's literally capturing the moisture out of the air and transforming that into drinking water. Because you understand, he was very pivotal during the Flint, Michigan water crisis and the Jackson, Mississippi water crisis. And unfortunately, those crises are still going on. And I know a man's services like this, he's probably wanted highly throughout the world because he's been around the world. Okay. But this is one of our living legends. He's still here with us today, very young, vibrant. And he stated that clean water is a fundamental human right. And if you see at the top left here, family, Moses West Foundation, water is free. Yeah. Okay. I won't tally here too long, but this is one of our powerful brothers here, living legends. But he said water is free. And now think about you paying for water. Think about you paying for water either in a bottle or through your faucet, or D, all of the above. But I digress. And here's another thing, family, I wanted to point out to you guys very quickly, because there are still people in need while American cities are struggling to supply safe drinking water. And before, like I stated, he went to Jackson, Mississippi and Flint, Michigan. Also, some cities who are suffering from non-potable drinking water is New York City, Baltimore, the state of Hawaii, and there's some other places as well. But if you notice, majority of these cities are what? What are the majority of these cities, family? I won't answer for you. You know they're black. Let me move on. We'll wait for my slow internet, family. That's all that is. I just want to, after this, we'll move on with the broadcast, but I do want to, again, give one of our living legends his flowers.
Played with electronics, and that's not typical vandal stuff.
Less than a week after bringing free water to Flint, Moses West says the green machine he designed to do just that was vandalized.
Once they broke into the machine and they destroyed the generator, very technical, they knew what they were doing. It wasn't just, random vandalism, not at all. They destroyed the battery. They put metal in the fuel system. I saw that when I was cleaning the fuel filter.
West is a military veteran who travels across the country to areas in crisis, bringing a machine he designed like this one that literally makes fresh water out of thin air. He put the green machine out for people along Saginaw Street on Thursday and was hoping to make a big impact. He says before the vandalism, they were giving hundreds of people free water every day.
You got to look at, I'm making anywhere from 1,200 to 2,000 gallons of water a day. And giving away for free. That's a lot of.
One question. You were speaking about why haven't they killed you yet?
I want to point out something about our master brother right there, one of our living legends, and I think that's the reason why he got out of Flint, Michigan, because his precious invention either got tampered with. And now I came up with two theories. I really thought it was a white power structure, because anytime a great invention comes out, family, every time a great invention come out, the white power structure has, they just gall to go out and destroy it and tamper with it. They try to steal the technology. And I'm not saying white people, I'm saying the system of white supremacy, family. So when I see things like this, that's where my mind automatically goes. And then the second thing, I thought about this too, just to be fair, he's in Flint, Michigan. It could have been, some people who are bad on their luck and they thought copper was in there. But then he said they knew what they were doing. Like they went to an area after recognizing how the mechanisms go. They knew exactly where to go to tamper with it, destroy it, or make it, not running properly. And that's when I go back to white supremacy. You remember the guy who made the engine that ran off of regular tap water from his old BMW? You don't hear about that guy no more. There's another black guy who's creating a retrofitted electric car. You take your gasoline truck or your car in on a Monday, and then 7 days later, he converts it into a electric vehicle. I forgot the guy's name, but he has his own company. So let's get into it, family. Here we go. Here is the budget we're going to cover here today, because I think this is very important when we talk about your tax dollars, okay? When we talk about your tax dollars. So in fiscal year 2024, the federal government has collected $1.58 trillion in revenue, okay? $1.58 trillion in revenue. And why this is significant is because we understand we're $33 trillion in debt, and they're going to break it down even more so. And this is coming from fiscaldata.treasury.gov, a federal government website. And they're going to go on and on. In fiscal year 24, the federal government has spent $2.12 trillion. Don't forget, the revenue is only $1.58 trillion. So automatically, we're in a deficit, are we not? We're in a deficit, are we not? So this is how much we spent, and this is how much we are in deficit in 2024, okay? In 2024. So if you comb through the years here, what it does is break down from 2020, and this is since Joe Biden has been president. Now, I know some people will say that first year and a half, we have to give that to Trump. Then some people will argue that hasn't Joe Biden, decreased the amount over time. So the deficit here was 3.3 trillion, 2021, 2.77 trillion, 2022, 1.38, and 23, 1.70. And then we're at 24, we're already at $532 billion, okay? So the figure that the national debt is 34 trillion through 2024. So we're already at $1 trillion, $34 trillion in debt, family. $34 trillion in debt as a country. Now, the reason why this is significant, because we're going to go down the timeline and see how this plays a role and how it affects people at the bottom. That's why this is important. Because when you see things like this, a lot of times when you don't have the information in a manner in which you can understand it so you can follow the flow, then this will start making sense to you, okay? So this has come from USAID.gov. Sustain U.S. leadership in humanitarian assistance and food security to respond to the unprecedented global levels of humanitarian need. We went right to global levels, not the homeless that we have on the street, not people who are having psychological defects, who are mentally unstable. The budget requests more than $10.5 billion in humanitarian assistance to respond to an average of 75 crises annually in more than 65 countries, including Ukraine, Syria, new and emerging crises and natural disasters. Okay, and then it goes tallies about how much money they've been given to Ukraine, how much money they've been given to all these countries for all these particular reasons, family. Addresses the root cause of irregular migration across Central America. We get back to immigration. So here we go. Robustly supports the administration root cause strategy and the president's $4 billion four-year commitment by requesting more than $1 billion across state and U.S. aid and the interagency to strengthen the region as a coalition of resilient democracies that deliver security, development, and economic opportunities for the peoples of Central America to be safe in their countries. This is coming from USAID. Okay? Moving right along. It's unfolding here, family. It's unfolding here. Give me a second. Now, the foreign aid obligations are typically 1% to 2% total spending. You see that supposedly for this budget that they supposedly have, that only 1% is going to foreign aid. That's what they're stating. Only 1% is going to foreign aid. It states here, though, in fiscal year 2022, Ukraine was the largest single country recipient of aid, receiving $12.4 billion. Now I want you to think about what Trump said. Ukraine has been receiving $12.4 billion. And family, I did a breakdown when I was doing pieces about the Ukraine and Russian war and how that Ukraine was the original country that formed the Soviet Union. And supposing the reasons behind the Ukraine-Russian war, okay, allegedly is because Russia is trying to weed out white supremacy in Ukraine. I don't know. And at the same time, you notice that Russia is becoming friends with a lot of African presidents, a lot of African countries, okay? Because a lot of African countries are in business with two major companies other than, the European white structure that you already know. Those two are Russia and China, believe it or not. And India comes in a strong third as well. Now, it goes on to state that Israel, 3.3 billion, Ethiopia, 2.2 billion, Afghanistan, 1.4 billion, Yemen, 1.4 billion, Egypt, so on and so forth. Regionally and global categories also top the list, with worldwide programs receiving 16.6 billion in obligations led by the sub-Saharan African region, receiving 1.5 billion, okay? And then they break down all the countries and who's receiving the money. Who's receiving the money? So, and some of you probably say, well, okay, why is this important? Because when you guys go out to vote, everybody has their own reasons for voting, and everybody has their reasons for it when they're not voting. I'm not voting. Let's cash payment reparations on the table for starters. So let's get that out of the way. But other people are still going to go out and vote. And you wonder where these billions of dollars, where your brothers and sisters are on the street, your brothers and sisters don't have the assistance and help that they need. This is where your money's going. Ukraine, Israel, Ethiopia, Afghanistan, so on and so forth. Okay? We're moving, family. Senate set to consider a $118 billion national security and border package. Most of the bill cost, $98.1 billion, comes from the emergency funding for national security purposes. This funding includes $60 billion of military aid to Ukraine. What did I just say? Most of the bill's cost, $98 billion, comes from emergency funding for our national security. Then it goes on to say that this funding includes over $60 billion of military aid to Ukraine. So even out of our own emergency fund for national security, in case we ever get attacked, we give $60 billion to Ukraine. More than $14 billion in military aid for Israel, $2.4 billion for other U.S. operations responding to activity in the Red Sea. And it goes on and on and on. Then at the end here, I thought this was ironic. An additional $10 billion of funding would be for humanitarian assistance to Ukraine, Israel, and Gaza. So you're funding Israel during the conflict during Gaza. And then once that conflict is over, and the way it looks like, allegedly people are calling this as a genocide, you're going to rebuild Gaza. I wonder, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there today, family. I'm not going to go to my conspiracy theory, okay? I'm not going to go to my conspiracy theory, but I believe history states what happens when you destroy a city. When you destroy a city and then you put people in place in politics, once that city has been rebuilt, to then control it, and then you have power over them. It's called being the puppet master. But I digress. I won't go there. But I just want to show you here the numbers, how much money is going to Ukraine. I won't go there today, family. I won't go there. I'm gonna keep moving. Because this is vitally important, the amount of money that this country has forked out to other countries. I want you guys to be very, very aware of this. Now, I got this dashboard here, and I'm trying to blow it up for you guys. Let me see if I can blow it up one more time. And it lets you know the current dollar amount and where all the money is going. And why is the money going to these countries? See, the American government reports all this information, but they know that the public won't go out and sort. Look at this. Activity, macroeconomic support, Ukraine, $5.8 billion. Israel, foreign military financing, 3.3. We just saw that. Then AIDS for the world. Where's the world money going? It just says the world. And they said they contribute to some global fund. Okay. And I'm not stating that they're not, but yeah, to the world. We're putting money to the world. The world again. Ukraine again. Ukraine. Stabilization, operations, and security sector reform. Egypt, the world. So this is where all the money is going. And family, you can comb through this information. That was just fiscal year 2022. Let's go back and don't forget all that money that was in Ukraine. Okay. I have nothing against Ukrainians. I have nothing against Ukraine. I'm talking about the amount of money that America sent in these countries. Look at this year, 2023, $14.4 billion to Ukraine, another 3.3 to Israel, 1.2 to Egypt. Okay. And the list goes on and on. Jordan, world, any country, Yemen, terrorist countries. Because again, if you don't think that America funds a lot of these conflicts in the Middle East, allegedly, then think again, because why are we getting money to Yemen? Why are we getting money to Jordan? Afghanistan. I mean, this is millions and billions of dollars that this country is essentially just forking out. And some people are going to say Blacklogic is due to national security. And I would tell you, yes, to a certain degree. To a certain degree, because these so-called militias and these terrorist groups in these countries may be funded allegedly by the U.S. government to stay in their own country and don't bring those terrorist acts to America. That could be it. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I'm just saying, fam, this could be wrong. I don't know. I don't know. Because we're sending money to countries all over the world, from Afghanistan, Zimbabwe, and why? Supposedly for humanitarian aid, right? Development assistance and promoting democracy. But let's call this what it really is. Because if you think they're getting all this money, let me just tell you that this is a game of political chess. Now, for example, take Afghanistan. Okay, if you guys can picture where Afghanistan is, we're over here in the middle. We're in the Middle East, right? I'm just circling because I don't even know where it is. Hold on, let me find it. Oh, they're not popping up the names. Now I'm popping up the names. All right. Some of you guys are really good with geography, but I'll just let you know, okay? This is the Middle East here, guys. Okay. All right. But when you take, for instance, Afghanistan, we poured billions into that country. Did you know that America poured like hundreds of billions of dollars into Afghanistan, and supposedly to promote stability and democracy? Yet we've never seen that in Afghanistan. The Taliban had already took it over. They're running the government. We're talking about corruption, chaos, and nerve-ending war that would never end. Meanwhile, Black communities, damn right, Black communities, American communities struggle with crumbling infrastructure. We don't have good health care. And our schools are trash to a certain degree. We got great teachers, but the schools are falling apart. And then let's think about the organizations I stated in the beginning. There's a whole laundry list of those two, from the World Bank to the United Nations. Damn right, we fund the United Nations. And that is what Trump was talking about. That is what Trump was talking about. Hold on, let me see you guys for a second. Listen, that is what Trump was talking about, because it's like, you know what? Not that I agree with his statement, but I understood what he was getting at. We're funding the United Nations. We're funding NATO. America forks out billions and trillions of dollars around the world. So Some people believe he went a little too far when he said he would encourage Russia to go do whatever the hell they want to do to him because they owe them that money. I mean, I get it. I'm not saying I agree, but I get it, family. I get it. Because again, we're talking about a lot of money that is not coming to the citizens of this country, but they're sure taking your tax dollars in order to pay all these other foreign countries and these organizations that you guys may not be aware of. Okay? That you guys may not be aware of. Because when you talk about the World Bank and the United Nations, we're funding these institutions left and right every single year. But are they helping us? Absolutely not. They're just serving their interests for the global elites. And if you don't believe there's global elites, family, in the system of white supremacy, it's nothing but global elites. See, here's the part that gets me really infuriating. While we're so busy propping up other countries and organizations and immigration legally, it doesn't matter. What do we get in return? Empty promises, broken dreams. Meanwhile, these politicians, especially those posing up in the Democratic Party, as well as the Republican Party, but when it comes to black folk, especially the Democratic bootlicking party, they use this foreign aid as a smokescreen to distract from the failures to uplift black communities. Oh, what about immigration? Oh, what about world hunger? Oh, what about, I don't know, what about humanitarian? What about environmental, what's the term they're using? Environmental what? Environmental slavery? No, what was it? Something stupid that if they fix the environment, that's reparations. That's what they're stating. And we keep going down the systemic issues that we have. Again, it doesn't go away because here's another thing. I know this is one of those hot button issues that I always bring up, but it's very, very significant, family, because when I think about our tax dollars, right? Your small business tax dollars, your big business tax dollars, the taxes that we pay in exchange for government services. Like when you go to a government website, you have to pay a fee. All those things. We are funding Middle Eastern countries. We are funding African countries. We are funding European countries. We are funding South American and Central American countries. I don't know how the most powerful country in the world can look themselves in the mirror and say, you know what, that's okay. Only 1% of our people, 2% of our people are dying horribly on the streets, even though that we have the money to empower ourselves as American citizens. They don't care. They do not care, family. They do not care. So here's something else I think we should cover very quickly as well. So the United States population is 341 million people, okay? 341 million people. I'm gonna go over here to the Census Bureau. Stay with me here. Black Americans are 15%. Foundational Black Americans are 15% of the US population. Keep that in mind. We're 15%. So no more 3.6, 15%. And this information is coming from Pew Research and blackdemographics.com. Blackdemographics.com. Get their information from the censusbureau.gov. Okay. So let's go over to the censusbureau.gov now. Even though this is not updated, I want you guys to see the numbers. So when we look at the population, give me a second, of white people alone, that means they're non-Hispanic. This number is inaccurate. It's around 65% now. It's around 65 to 70%. It's not 75.5%. Okay. Then you come down to Hispanics. That's around about 20 to 21%. Why am I giving you these numbers? Because we're about to find out some information here. They stated that 653,000 people are experiencing homelessness in the U.S. in 2023. Let's go deeper. And of course, when I want things to pop up, these are the states that are mostly in that dark blue color that has the highest rates of homelessness. Now, my hometown, DC, and this is per capita, total people unhoused, roughly 5,000. It says people experiencing homelessness per capita is 725. That's very high. Then you have Vermont at 509. You have New York at 103,000 people. Okay. And then you come over here to Hawaii, 6,000, California, 181,000, Oregon, 20,000, Washington, 28,000, Alaska, 26. And you see the meter here. Why is this important? All of these states are Democratic states. Now, I'm not too sure about Hawaii. I could be wrong about Hawaii, but if I'm not mistaken, and someone correct me in the chat, are all of these Republican ran states, Vermont, New York, DC, and I know DC is not a state, guys. I'm from DC. California, Oregon, Washington, Hawaii, and Alaska. Now, I also want you to think about this. This is people experiencing homelessness per 100,000 residents in 2023. Now, what is the biggest state according to the landmass in the union? What is the biggest state? Trivia. What is the biggest state in the union with the largest landmass? With the largest landmass. This let the cat out the bag. Alaska. By landmass, Alaska. And then second is Texas. Look how many homeless people that Texas have according to per capita 100,000 being the second largest state, 27,000. 27,000. The next state on the list is California. 181,000 people are homeless. 20,000 people in Oregon, and Oregon is very small. Washington, 28,000 people, more than Texas, which is the second largest state in America. Then you go on to New York, it's higher than Texas. Okay. What are some other states? But yeah, family, that's very significant when we call those things out like that, because now you're getting a reference. And it points it out even more. Largest overall homeless populations. Top of the list, California, New York, Florida, Washington, and Texas. Okay. Highest rates of homeless per 100,000. Largest percent increase in homeless population. These are the people now becoming homeless since last year. New Hampshire, New Mexico, New York, Colorado, and Montana. So what I'm getting here, you see all these tax dollars. We're going to comb through it. You got all these tax dollars, family. And then when you reference that to the American people, you see how many people that we have homeless and not being taken care of. Because these next numbers I want to point out to you guys is going to show you a correlation, if this thing ever loads, of the population of Black Americans. Okay. So I'm going to blow this up as much as I can here. Maybe I got that too big. Give me a second, family. So I'm going to go right to those states. California, their Black population. California, their Black population is only 5%. 5%. 5%. Okay. Why am I pointing this out? Because the highest amount of people who are homeless in California are Black. The highest percentage of people who are homeless in Texas and Oregon and Washington and California are Black. That's why. But we have the lowest population number in some of these states. Okay, let me move on. DC. Now, DC, I'm from DC, DC Chocolate City. Now it's kind of like Milk Chocolate City, but we still have a high portion of Black folk, 42%. Okay, so that makes sense. Hawaii, 1.1%. What else do we have on the list here? Let me go down to Texas. 11.5%, family. But did you know, out of that 653,000 people who are homeless, 49% of them are Black. Almost 50%. And look at the percentage throughout the states. Look at the percentage throughout, I'm about to say the cities, but we didn't go over the cities. But the states, but you can already imagine what cities they are. You can already imagine what cities they are. And just kind of get you guys fired up a little bit here. I just want to get you fired up just a little bit, the way I'm fired up, okay? And you know I love pointing out Joe Biden and what he has published. Budget strengthens border security, enhances legal pathways, and provides resources to enforce our immigration laws. Yeah, we're going to have to point some things out. Supports a fair, orderly, and humane immigration system. The administration is committed to improving the nation's immigration system and safeguarding its integrity, and promised by efficiently and fairly adjudicating requests for immigration benefits. The budget includes $865 million for U.S. citizens, U.S. citizenship, and immigration services to process the increasingly asylum caseloads, reduce the historically high immigration benefit request backlog. Wait a minute. Reduce the historically high immigration benefit request backlog, support the Citizenship and Integration Grant Program, and improve refugee processing to achieve the administrative goal of admitting up to 125,000 people. That's what I'm referring to, family. This is what Joe Biden stated. Stay with me. I'm going to show you something here. This was last year, March 23. This is from whitehouse.gov. This is from no other than the commander-in-chief. And in this fact sheet, this is what he writes. That they have a goal of admitting 125,000 people each and every year. Now, we already know they passed their quota. We already know that they made their goals. We already know that they made their goals, family. But this is where we are. This is the state that we're in, where this was already planned. That's the point I'm getting at. I believe that the debt that we have, it will never be repaid. We will never balance the American budget. Never. And the reason why I say we will never balance the budget, because think about this. We are a country. We are a people that live off of IOUs. Right now, you have a car note. Right now, you have a house mortgage. Right now, you have a personal loan. Right now, you have a student loan. Right now, you have a loan that you took to buy your trade. Somewhere in your finances, you ever have a loan or you have a credit card. It's still a loan. Still a loan. You got to pay it back with interest. Still a loan. So that $34 trillion will never get paid. But I did some digging here. And of course, they translated my stuff to Spanish because I'm at the U.S. Embassy in El Salvador. Bear with me here, family. I had some things prepared for you guys. And yeah. But this is about Title 42. Effectively meaning individuals who attempt to enter the U.S. without permission have no legal base to remain in the country. Good. We all familiar with Title 42. Now, here's a part. Expansion of the process for Venezuelans, Nicaraguans, Haitians, and Cubans. Then right here, I had all this highlighted for you guys. I'm sorry that it kind of refreshed on its own here. But it says the Biden-Harris administration intends to host up to 20,000 refugees from Latin American and Caribbean countries during fiscal year 23 and 24, putting the U.S. one step away from more than tripling refugee admissions from the hemisphere Western only in the fiscal year. Have you guys noticed that any other countries that are unstable, what does the European white power structure do? They go inside those countries and they stabilize them. But on this hand, they're stating is, we're going to process a lot of these refugees. This fulfills the president's commitment under the Los Angeles Declaration on Migration and Protection to increase admissions of refugees from the Western Hemisphere. From the Western Hemisphere. And then it goes on, increase humanitarian assistance in Mexico and Central America by announcing $23 million in additional humanitarian assistance in Mexico. And some of you are going to say, well, if we're sending millions of dollars to Mexico and Central America, then why all of the people coming here? And you see, all of this is in one document, family. Listen, this is crazy. We're going to send $23 million in additional humanitarian assistance in Mexico and Central America. And then right up here, they state that we are going to process, according to the Los Angeles Declaration of Migration, to increase admissions of refugees from the Western Hemisphere. So we're going to send money there and we're going to accept all your people. What are we doing with the infrastructure then? What are we doing with the capital? People are capital because people make money. So people are capital. What are they talking about? Mobilization of registration resources for the safe, orderly, and humane processing of migrants. They're throwing Title 42 right out the window. Look, Title 42 public health order eventually ends. Remove thousands of trackers from the street and counter misinformation from traffickers. I didn't even say it right. And so, you know that lie they've been telling for a long time, that by having illegal immigrants in the country, it doesn't increase the amount of drugs in the country. It doesn't increase the amount of crime in the country. Well, I beg to differ, family, because according to the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, and looking at their data, I'm going to look for 2023 here. No, we can look at some other years here. Let me blow this up for you guys. So even though fentanyl is number 4th on the list here, they said that marijuana, meth, cocaine, and fentanyl are the top 4 drugs that are smuggled inside the country by who? Who they by? Oh, Drug Seizure Statistics. Oh, okay, from the U.S. Border Patrol. And then if you go and you say, what region? Okay, because I want to know the numbers. I just want the southwestern border. That's all I want, is a southwestern border, because we know drugs coming into America allegedly through Canada. We know that. But how much is coming through here? And if you comb through all of this data, family, we're talking about thousands of kilos are coming through the country each and every time. So our people are coming through as refugees, people are coming through as asylum seekers. And as I told you, Governor Abbott, no friend of Governor Abbott, just point out what he stated. He stated that there was 10 IEDs on the other side of the border. So we can only imagine the amount of drugs that's coming through the country. And I combed you down this entire line. I came down this entire broadcast to tell you this. This is America's own doing for neglecting Black Americans. Because now you have other people from other communities now pointing out all the issues because of illegal immigration. People are now pointing out all the issues because the amount of money that we pay in taxes and the amount of money that the American government pays to foreign countries, foreign organizations, domestic organizations, all by the way of the American tax dollar. And when it comes to crimes, and this is from the Customs and Border Patrol Protection. What is it? I'm messing up my words. From the U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Here's the amount of crimes, family. And it states here, this table organized nationwide convictions of criminal non-citizens by type of criminal conduct. Some criminal non-citizens may be convicted of multiple criminal offenses. Total convictions listed below exceed the total arrested. So they're basically saying they have multiple offenders: assault and battery, burglary, driving under the influence, manslaughter, illegal drug possessions, illegal re-entry. Right? They have all of these. And if they say that crime is not being increased due to illegal immigration, then they're wrong, because I'm getting it from their own government website. I think we're going to go on a positive note, family. We're going to go on a positive note. I'm gonna be positive today, family. I got some things to show you very quickly before I get out here. I want to recognize everybody in the room: Jermaine Anderson, DSB, Thick Black Line, Alonzo Dunn, DT Pointer. Says 23 million is for the production of roadmaps to the U.S. You guys are fools, man. That was funny. That was funny. That was good. That's what it feels like. Let me point this out. Now, I don't know what y'all boy Shaq out here talking about. What is Shaq talking about? Shaq said he's in a gun backpack event in Dallas. Now, I didn't show this because I'm like, ain't nobody giving up their guns. Because the first thing someone's gonna think about is illegal immigration. Think about their safety. KK says, while being invaded, no. We got our own problems to worry about, let alone other people illegally in the countries. And now they're committing crimes, and now they are harming policemen. I don't want anybody to get harmed, family. I don't want anybody to get harmed. Okay, I don't want anybody to get harmed. I don't. Now, Juicy Genius said, I hate this internet. Who made this? They were talking about the guy who was the hype man in the Super Bowl last night. Man, the internet is 1,000-0. Like, it never loses. The internet never loses, by the way. That's why you can't compete against the internet. Last but not least, you guys got a family. Now, Tweety Montgomery posted this, Lord, please help those horses. Them poor horses. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna let you guys hear this real quick. Hold on.
You laugh. I blocked you.
Yes. 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 Hold on. Oh my God.
You laugh. I blocked you.
Yes.
And no, sisters, is not FBA women. No. Oh Lord, my people. We gotta just go to the gym, get your physique on. You know what I mean? Man, oh man, Lord. Gotta be more careful out here. That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm gonna leave you guys today. Make sure you guys subscribe, hit that thumbs up button. Please share this on your other social medias, your Twitters, all your other things. Please support the channel. We're trying to get to 50,000, family. We're trying to get to 50,000. I'm a long road away from 50,000, but hey, that's my small and large goals at the same time. So please support the channel. I just need hit that subscribe button, hit that share button. Thank my mods for all the great work you guys do. I do appreciate it. But that's it for today, family. I had a lot of material, but I didn't want to be too hyped today. I was kind of laid back because when I think about the millions and billions and trillions of dollars that this country have neglected to pay foundational Black Americans reparations, and then when you trace where this money goes, it shows you the disrespect and the disdain that they have for Black people. I just showed you Moses West, who invented an apparatus that captures the moisture out of the air and make it drinking water and make it potable drinking water. But they would tell you that the only thing that we are criminals, that we're lazy, that we're stupid. We can't be intelligent because, that whole your head is small thing. But why we continue to modernize and innovate and improve the world? I want you to think about the inventions. We had one of our legendary foundational Black Americans who had his patent approved way before the Wright brothers, so we already knew how to take flight. We have a sister, Marion Van Brown, who invented the first home security system. So ADT, Brinks, your Ring cameras, Wise cameras, all of those things, thanks her. Because she had that back in what, the 70s? Another one of our brothers, Lonnie Johnson, created the Nerf gun, worked for NASA. Charles Drew, Frederick. I mean, you have all of these great black people. And even today, even Ben Carson, not a fan, but Ben Carson, master surgeon, first one to ever separate Siamese twins. And the list goes on and on, not just things we've created like George Washington Carver. People keep talking about the peanut guy, but he's the one who developed soybean. And out of soybean, he made a cheap plastic for the military. A lot of people don't know that either. We have so much rich history, and this is why they keep trying to tie us back to Africa. Yes, we understand that our long ancestry goes back to the continent as all people on there, but we understand we're closely related. We understand that. But we're talking about almost 1,000 years removed. And when you look at Trinidad, when you look at Jamaica, when you look at the Bahamas, none of them state that they're African whatever. I'm not an African Bohemian. I understand that my people are from Africa, but I'm Bohemian, so on and so forth. I'm Belizean or whatever people from Belize say, but you go on and so forth. So this is why we are using that term foundational Black America, not just because we're the foundation and we built this country, but just like any other Black group outside of Africa does not use that term. So I want you to think about all the great things, and not just because it's Black History Month, because you have to teach your people, you have to teach your kids, you have to teach your parents, depending on who you are, about the great history and the great present that we have. I just throw that at you guys because, again, like I said, this is the benign neglect of continue to undermine Black folk, dupe Black folk, trick Black folk just to stay in power, just to garnish your vote, just to capture your vote. All this to stay in power. Very, very corrupt. And so we have to be informed. We have to be aware, and to a certain degree, very non-emotional. It's about business at this point, family. It's about business. We understand they operate in the system of white supremacy. Okay, cool. No tangible, no vote. No tangible, no vote. Until they understand that, then we're going to stay on our square and we're not moving. So, and then some people, well, what if the country and democracy fall apart as we know it? Then let it fall. Let it fall. What we got to lose? Yeah, some of you may be doing well, but at the end of the day, family, it's about us. It's about the foundational Black American grassroots who really care about our people. You guys have a great and wonderful evening. Be one.